Good morning, children. Today we'll do grammar and in that we'll do change of voice. Now, this lesson is quite long and I'm not very sure whether you all have learned this before or this is the first time. So, I'm going to teach you in detail. Now, to be able to change voice, a sentence should be a transitive sentence. If it's not a transitive sentence, you cannot change the voice. Okay? Now, I have already taught you what is a transitive sentence. It is a sentence wherein you have the subject, verb, and the object, and the action, that is what's being done in the sentence, passes from the subject to the object. Okay, now let's read. I will go a little fast because the lesson is quite long. Transitive sentence. A transitive sentence expresses an action that passes over from the subject to the object. Example, Beckham kicks a ball, Sheena sings a song. Now you see this is your subject, this is your verb, the action, and what did he kick? A ball. So this is your object. So this person is doing the action on this object. Clear? That is this subject, the action is passing over from the subject to the object. Same thing here. Sheena sings a song. She's doing something. And what is she doing? Singing. But what is she singing? A song. Okay. Intransitive sentence. An intransitive sentence expresses an action that does not pass over from the subject to the object. Change of voice is not possible. Example, Beckham screams loudly. Now here he is doing an action, that is screaming. But there is no object after this. This is adverb. It's describing how he screams. It's not another object. Okay. Sheena sings. See, after the action sings, there is no other object over here. Clear? So the action of Sheena singing is not passing on to the object. Now let's see what an active voice is. When the subject is the doer of the action, the sentence is in the active voice. That is, when the subject is doing the action. Okay, who is doing the action? So now, from this sentence itself, you will understand what is the most important thing when they ask you to change the voice. Whatever voice they may tell you, whether they tell you to make it into active voice, whether they tell you to make it into passive voice. The most important thing or the first thing you have to do is find the verb, that is the action, and then see who is the doer or who is doing that action. Okay. Now, if the person doing the action is before the verb, it is active. If the person doing the action is after the verb, it is passive. Keep it in mind, again I'm repeating. If the person doing the action is before the verb, it is active. If the person doing the action is after the verb, it's passive. The subject is the noun or the pronoun before the verb. See here, this is the proper prose order. Remember when I taught you all your figures of speech? Yes, what is your proper prose order inversion? Words are not in the proper prose order. What is the proper prose order? First, you should always have your subject. This is the way you should write your sentence. Then the verb, and then the object, and then the rest of the sentence. So when you're searching for your verb, see your verb. See that the person doing the action should be here, that is before this verb. If the person doing the action is anywhere after the verb, then it is a passive voice. So let's just read the example. Example, Radha has given the book. So here you have a subject and here you have an object. This is the action. Has given. Okay, how do you check what is the action has given? Who has given? You will ask, who has given? Radha. So this answer should be over here. Now here you look at the action. What is it? Chased. Who chased? The police chased. Clear? So it is active voice. The police chased the thief. Okay. If it's after the action, it is passive. So once you identify what type of sentence it is, it's easy to change it. Okay. Others you will get mixed up, especially in this type of sentence. I just give you an example where the by is not written, and you will think it is active voice, well as it is passive. Clear? Okay. Let's go ahead. Change of voice. Rules for changing active to passive voice. First is interchange the position of the subject and the object. So whatever the sentence is, I told you how to identify the subject and the object by looking at the verb and seeing who is doing the action. So you come to know now which is the subject, which is the object. You will interchange the place. So subject is always first. You will put the object first and the subject after the object. Second, add the verb to be in the tense of the active verb. Choose from am, is, are, was, were, will be, has, had, have been, will have been, am, is, was being. So any of these, it will be added in the sentence. Okay. And the past participle of the active verb. So the passive voice is always in the past tense. Okay. In some cases, it may already be present in the active sentence. So maybe the active sentence is already in the past tense. So when you change it, you don't have to worry. Automatically, you will be writing the past tense. Whereas if the sentence is in the present tense, that time when you're changing, you should remember that you have to make it into past tense. Next one, add the preposition mostly by. Most of the time it's by. Sometimes there are other prepositions you will learn as I'm teaching you. In 99.9% it's by. It's just a 0.1% that sometimes you have something else. Okay. Now, how this table you have to learn by heart, or at least have an idea about it. So, what you can do is, once I finish teaching this lesson, you will learn or read this table at least a minimum 5 times. Read it 5 times today, then again tomorrow read it 3 times, and again after that read it at least twice. Only then will it becomes easy to remember to recall when you're writing. Okay. The first is the tense, which tense it is, then how the sentence should be written in the active voice, and how that same sentence should be written in the passive voice. So let's read. Simple present. Here you have eat or eats, like do or does. Okay, any of these. If I'm just giving an example, instead of eat, I took eat as an example over here, the action of eating. Next, how will you change it? You will either say be, you will say is, am, are eaten. Okay, so you will change when you're changing it. Okay, instead of eats, it becomes eaten, and before that, according to the verbs, that according to your tense, according to your sorry number, you will write either of these. Either you will say are being, be, is, am, or are eaten. Next one, present continuous. Here in your activities are or is eating. See, this is for plural, this is for singular. Yes, and it changes into is, am, are being eaten. Now present perfect. Okay. What happened? One thing you should remember in this is that when you have simple tense, it's just the simple verb like this. When you have continuous tense, you will always have ing. Continuous tense always has ing. I'm repeating again. Continuous tense always has ing. Why is it called continuous tense? Because you're talking of an action. Okay, tense means you're talking of an action. So that action is going on for a long period of time, or in past tense it went on for a long period of time, or in the future will go on for a long period of time. Like for example, if you're saying studying, okay, so say you're studying not for a second, not for now at the moment, but you studied for an hour. So that same action of studying was going on for an hour. Clear? Okay. Next is a simple past. Active you have ate, and passive were or was eaten. Past continuous was eating. Passive was were being eaten. Past perfect had eaten. Has have been eaten. Now I told you about the continuous tense, that is always has ing. Now the perfect tense, whatever it may be, whether simple perfect, uh, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, in the perfect tense, you will always have words like has, had, and have. Has will be for present, had will be for past, and have will be for future. So has, have, had, always in the perfect tense. So perfect tense has, have, had. Continuous ing. Clear? Perfect tense has for present, had for past, have for future. Okay, so let's read last. Simple future will eat, will, shall be eaten. Future perfect will have eaten, will, shall have been eaten. Okay. Now let's, this you have to read it. I told you again and again, others you are not going to remember. Now the next thing that is to be done is your personal pronouns and active sentence change their form. So personal pronouns, when you're talking of he, me, I, he, she. Okay. Now what will it change into? In active, if it's I, it becomes me in passive. We becomes us. He becomes his. She becomes her. They become them. Yes. So you say they did, she did the action. In your passive voice, it will become to her, or for her, or by her. Okay. By her. Mostly it is by her, because remember that is your subject goes last at the end of the sentence. However, the personal pronoun in second person, that is you, has the same form in the active as well as passive voice. So you is the only personal pronoun that remains the same. Okay, by you or you. Okay, next, changing the imperative sentence. So now when this now what I told you till now is for all the regular types of sentences. Now there are two things that you have to remember is, one is how you change an imperative sentence is a little different. Always have you over here as the subject. Okay, remember, you is always a subject in an imperative sentence. So how will it be? You carry it home. How will it be? You carry it home. You do it at once. You throw the ball. But this you is hidden. It's not written over here in an imperative sentence. So what you are supposed to do, remember, you are changing your subject, verb, object, and starting your sentence with what? Your object, correct? But now, since it is an imperative sentence, this was the general rule which I told you. Now, since it is an imperative sentence, you will write the word let first. Write the word let first. Then you will write this object. Okay? Then you will write this object. So, let, and what is your object? It. Let it. Then this, I told you those two be verbs. Be, this goes into past tense. Your action is what? Carried. So, this goes into past and this is present. This is past. Let it be carried, and then this is rest of the sentence. So let it be carried home. Next one again. See again what is your object? It. So again you will have let it, and then be. What is this? Do. Past tense of do is what? Done. Past tense of do is done. And then write the rest of the sentence. Let it be done at once. Same. Now let's the next one. Throw the ball. So what is your object? The ball. So you start with, I said always, since it's an imperative sentence, let. So let, and then what you write? The ball, and be, throw. What is past tense of throw? Thrown. So you write, let the ball be thrown. When the active voice is in the negative, means your active voice is not positive, it's negative. That time how you change it? The passive voice takes the form of let, same here, see. Let plus object, and here you had be. Here instead of just be, before that only thing you add is not to be. Okay, plus the rest of the participle. It is the same. Only thing before be you will write not. So see the example. Do not beat the dog. So let, and whom are you talking about? The dog. Let the dog. What will you say? Let the dog. The object is the dog. So let the dog not be beaten. Past tense of beat is beaten. Note that do is not used in the passive form. So you do not use this do in the passive. Changing interrogative sentences. Now this you saw is what sentence? Imperative. Now you change interrogative sentence. Changing interrogative sentences. First rule. If any interrogative sentence starts with do, does or did, then while changing to passive voice, use is, are, am, was and were according to the number and persons of objects. So if you feel according to the number of objects, you will have any of these. Okay, where is it? Yes, has or have. Then see, see the example. What happened? Yes, okay. I was also wondering how has or have came. Okay, so yeah. According to the number, you will use is. Is will be for one, are for more than one, am is now for present tense. This is more than, this is for past tense. Okay, okay. Let's read. Okay. Does he help you? So, what will you say? Are, whom are you talking? See, help is your action, you is your object. So, this comes first. So, are you help becomes helped. Are you helped by whom? By him. And so he becomes him. Remember I given you the list of 5 words? Yes, he becomes him. Next one. Did he do his work? So now this you will make it. Did this work? Sorry. Uh, did he do this work? Yeah. Did he do this work? So what is your action? Do. And what is your object? This work. So was, then you have this work, do becomes done, and he becomes by him. Okay, easy, not so difficult. Next one. So only thing it's starting with was. So don't get mixed, don't get puzzled. See, remember, subject, verb, object. Okay, so you start with this. Only difference is here you had was, so you write was. Okay, you start with was. It is not started with the subject. So that's why you will also not start with the subject. You will use these words over there. So was, then what? A novel. And what did they say? Write the word being. Being. Read. Instead of reading, you will have past tenses read. By whom? By her. Clear? Okay. Next one you have your third rule. When the interrogative sentence starts with has, have, and had, then we should use been before the subject and has, have, and had at the starting. So same way. See, he is your subject, helped is your verb, and you is your object. So you will have the same thing. Instead of has, you write have. So have, what will be? You. And what did they say? Right? Been. Right? Been. Have you been helped? This is already past tense. So you don't change it. Why you don't change it? Remember I told you in some sentences already past tense. You don't have to think about changing it. So this you will just copy it as it is. Helped by him. He becomes him. Had he finished the work? See again this is already past tense. So had, what are you talking about? The work been finished by him. Next one. Fourth, rule number 4. When the interrogative sentence starts with a shall, will, can, and should, then we should use be after the new subject and shall, will, can, and should at the starting. All the rules are the same, only which words have to start. So, can he do the work? See, he is your subject. Do is verb, and this work is what? Object. So you write this as it is. No need of doing anything. Just write this as it is. Can this work? What they said at B. Be, and what is the past tense of this? Be done by him. Next one, will you teach the children? So will the children be, past tense of teachers, taught. Be taught by you. Okay, next one, rule 5. When the interrogative sentence starts with why, when and how, then we should use them at the beginning of the sentence, and who should be replaced by whom. So now let's see. Starting with who, when, and how. Remember, why, when, and how. Okay. This should be why. Okay, here who also should come. They have not written. I have not written. I think I've missed it out. Forgotten to type the who. So who has done this work? So what will you say? By whom has this work been done? By whom has this work been done? When did you do this work? So you write when as it is. When was what you're talking about this work done by you? Okay. Now we do the exercise. Exercise or the homework. I will explain each of these. Okay. Even though it's supposed to be homework, but I'm going to explain it to you. I am answering everyone. Now, how do you do it? What did I say? First, look out for the verb. This is your verb. Okay. Now, who is doing this answering? Who is doing this answering? कौन कर रहा है ये actions? The action. ये action कौन कर रहा है? I. Who is doing? I. That means this is active voice, and you have to interchange. ये यहाँ आएगा, ये यहाँ जाएगा. Okay. This comes here and this comes here. So, what is the first thing you start with? Everyone is being answered, answering, being answered by whom? By me. I told you in passive voice you always have by. Okay. Then next, the king will have captured the fort. So, will have captured. This is all your action. Now, this is subject. This is the verb. This is object. So, what do you start first? Object. So, the fort will have been, B-E-E-N, captured by the king. Okay. For this, you have to refer to the table that I gave you. Remember, I told you have to learn the table by heart. You have to refer to that. Our love gives us strength. So, what is the first thing? Our love gives whom? Gives us. Gives us. This is the rest of the sentence. Our love is subject, gives verb, and us is your object. So you'll start with this. Remember it changes. So we gives becomes argument. We are given what? What we're given? Strength. By whom? By Allah. Okay, next one. Treat friends as equal. So here remember when it's in uh, order, it is an advice. Yes. So imperative sentence start with let. So let whom? Let the friends. Let friends be treated. Yes, be treated as equals. Next one. Try it again the next day. Again, it is an order. It is an imperative sentence. Imperative sentence, then you write your answer with let. So let, what is it? Be tried again the next day. Yes, try is your action. Remember, try is your action. After this, that means this should come first. Correct? Hmm. So let it be tried. Look in your chart, in chart that I've given. Let it be tried again the next day. Next one, who did this? Who did this is what? Question tag. This you should know. By whom? Who becomes whom? By whom was this done? By whom was this done? When you're asking a question, remember I told you start with by. Wherever necessary, each rule changes. Next, had he written down specific goals? Now, this is a little puzzling, so listen. Had he is your subject, this is your verb, and written down is your verb. And what did he write? Specific goal. This is your subject. Okay. Now you will interchange. So had what will come? Specific goals. Then what always, not just the action, been written. Not just the action. You have to add this be to be verbs. Remember? Ah. So been written down. By whom? By this whoever he you're talking about. By him. Next last one. He told me that the taste was just perfect. So he told me. The question is only this. He told me. Now what he will tell you? How do we know? We don't know. So but here we know for one thing for sure that you have to have first subject, then verb, and then object. Clear? To make it into a passive voice. Okay. Now I'm not going to teach this because this video is becoming too long. You will feel bored, so I will record the rest for changing passive to active voice. I will record this in another video. Okay. So thank you and have a good day. This will be part 1 of the video. I'm recording the part 2 of the video with regard to change of passive voice. Thank you and have a good day. Just there is no homework in this. You just have to read and understand what I have done. So read this at least twice.